welcome into the newest episode of Pat's Latest. I'm your host, Mike Gambardella, and that does it. Preseason is wrapped up for your New England Patriots. A tough loss to the New York Giants, but one that is not all that indicative of what to expect from the Pats this year. What you can expect is to not see a top draft pick from last year on the 2025 version of the New England Patriots, a potential ad coming elsewhere with news for a top defensive player in the league. Additionally, looking at the kicking competition for the Patriots and who's up for the final roster spots heading down to the 53-man cut down period. Before we get started, make sure you go down and subscribe for the channel. Get in the comments and let us know what you think about the Pats heading into 2025, and if Micah Parsons really is on the table, how far should the Patriots go to push all in for an all-pro defensive end? Also, make sure you give us that like, go back and check out our old episodes after this one, and keep it locked for Pat's latest on everything your New England Patriots. We start indeed by looking over at the wide receiver who will be out for the entire season after being placed on season-ending IR. Not a massive surprise, but the former Washington product, Jaylen Pulk, is out for the year, suffering that shoulder injury in the first preseason game. Tried to take some time to figure out what was going on, and could he rehab and get back, but they decided surgery was the best option. So the wide receiver room kind of shores itself up because of this, and Polk had been on the trade block if he was actually going to be healthy anyways. That shoulder surgery now knocks him out for all of 2025, and he can keep his eyes set for 2026 and potentially fight for a position spot there. What this means, unfortunately, is the class of 2024 for the draft picks for the New England Patriots continues to look very difficult outside of Drake May. That first draft under Gerard Mayo is probably going to go down as a very tough one. And again, guys like Caden Wallace still fighting to make this roster and should, but there's not going to be a lot of production outside of May. And it's made even worse because Jaylen Pulk was selected after that pick was actually traded. The Patriots moved back and selected Jaylen Pulk. Had they stayed at that spot, they actually traded with the Los Angeles Chargers, who selected Ladd McConkey. And the pick that they actually added for moving back, the Patriots used to select Javon Baker. So if you want to keep score at home, it's match up the stats between Javon Baker and Jaylen Polk versus what Ladd McConkey is doing. I can tell you it's not going to be easy math. Let's put it that way. We will also look over at what is going on and is not too easy for the Dallas Cowboys and the latest in the saga of Micah Parsons. And throughout the course of Pat's latest over the past 6 months, we've addressed the sagas, the rumors, what the happenings. We are just 2 weeks away from the start of the NFL season, and potentially the best defensive player in football is apparently at odds not only with his team and owner. His representation is saying some inflammatory things. This has reached saga soap opera level. Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, told former player Michael Irvin on a podcast that the offer of Micah Parsons, when we wanted to send the details to the agent, whose name is David Mulugeta, the agent told us to stick it up our ass. That is the agent for Micah Parsons telling the owner of the Dallas Cowboys exactly what he can do for a deal that would potentially make Micah Parsons the highest paid defensive player in NFL history. Jones followed up by saying that Mulugeta told him to not bother sending the details because he had to negotiate still. Jones went on to say the least incremental part of the whole equations is the attorney or the agent. He's not the principal here in any way. Again, this is now going back and forth. This is what Jerry Jones did to a certain extent with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. These guys later became the top, if not one of the top, highest paid players at their positions, respectively. Micah Parsons has now taken a step further by removing all Cowboys references in his bios, his profiles, his X account, etc. This is not playing out well for the Dallas Cowboys. It's not playing out well for Jerry Jones or for Micah Parsons. Jerry Jones, for his credit, seemingly doesn't mind bad press. He doesn't care if things are out there. He doesn't care what people think, what people say. He cares that people are talking about the Cowboys. So here we are in Pat's latest talking about the Dallas Cowboys doing exactly what Jerry Jones would like us to do. The question is, will all of this end with Micah Parsons getting that contract that makes him the all-time highest defensive player in NFL history? Or does this just end up as a very bad breakup for that player and a franchise that desperately needs him? Can't say how far that Parsons and his representation want to dig in their heels. I know that they're going to just want that contract at the end of the day, and when you get that many zeros in a paycheck, it makes saying sorry a hell of a lot easier. For Jerry Jones, again, you play out the string as long as he's got his star player by week one. What does he care? But should Parsons feel slighted enough to say that enough is enough, then you could start to look at, okay, who's willing to give up 2 firsts, a second, and a player? And if the Patriots say, we'll give you this year's first, this year's second, next year's first, and Keon White, is that enough to get a deal done? And for Jerry Jones to say, you know what, I'll save some money here, make our team better in the next few years, as opposed to having that star player and the headaches that go along with it. A lot to still be played out here, but the fact that Micah Parsons is frustrated enough that now he's making essentially public statements through his social media accounts and by the actions and removing of items says a lot for what's going on here and how far the Patriots actually could be involved should things continue to play out this way. Also, looking at things and how they're playing out, the Patriots kicking competition continues to get very interesting. Obviously, the rookie 6th-rounder Andy Borregales, the out of Miami, was assumed to be the starting kicker when the season kicked off. He has gone 3 of 5 in field goals, missed a 49-yarder against the Giants, and badly missed a 50-yard attempt in the last game as well. He has not looked strong in preseason competition. In kicking competitions through practices, he has been neck and neck with John Parker Romo. So the question will become, does Mike Vrabel stick with the rookie that they invested in with the 6th-round pick and say, hey, you're going to have some growing pains, but we'll see how it goes. You expect him to come out very strong on the other side of it, whether it's just like Steven Gostkowski or any other kicker in that realm that you wait into the 6th-rounder. It's not a Sebastian Janikowski situation where you're investing a 1st-rounder on a kicker and you're just going to go with him automatically. You can have the conversation about what each guy brings to the table and the consistency that makes it important. The reason why it is important because Romo, who stepped in for the Minnesota Vikings last year, really acquitted himself well and looked like a strong, consistent kicker. And the Patriots knew that, and that's why they immediately signed him to a contract when he became available, when Will Richard went back and became healthy again for the Vikings. So Mike Vrabel will have a very difficult decision of what to do with that kicking game, and I think it also for the Patriots and kind of saying, hedging their bets a little bit here too, and saying what Elliott Wolf might think is, which of those players, if you cut, might you be able to sneak onto a practice squad? I think John Parker Romo might be more likely to end up on that practice squad, but again, both kickers having talent, it really depends on what the rest of the league is doing. So, again, another interesting caveat to this is how quickly the Patriots start making roster decisions and how quickly do they set themselves up, or do they wait out the string and see what else might be available to them towards the end of that cut down period? Speaking of that cut down period, the Patriots will be getting down there one way or another. And it looks like, obviously, it will be 90 players down to 53. So essentially 40 players kind of coming off that roster. But as we've looked and talked about, there's really 7 players who are fighting for the final 4 spots on this roster. we've talked at length about what Kyle Duggar and Anthony Jennings have gone through. They've gone from starters on last year's team, captains at times, to now playing with fourth stringers and practice squad players and really trying to up their value in the trade market, if you will. Jennings did not play in the preseason game as he was injured. Duggar did and played into the second half and had a fantastic game. Another interception, uh, pass breakups, 3+ tackles, was everywhere. Now, again, the Patriots probably will have no problem trading him should they wish. They will have to eat the majority of his salary as well. Anthony Jennings, another one that if a team is in need of a defensive end, could come and get him. It just matters on how much the Patriots are actually looking for to get for him. So, for the rest of those four spots, the names to keep an eye on that you've probably heard us talk about: Jack Westover, if the Patriots are going to keep that third or fourth tight end and that fullback flexibility. Javon Baker, who continues to have ups and downs and probably has more of an impact as a special teamer at this point and likely more situated for the practice squad at this time. Cole Strange, the former first rounder who is going to be a backup on the offensive line, likely has enough pedigree and flexibility to stick on this roster. Then that goes to the defensive side where you're looking at guys like Del Pettis, the safety, Marte Mapu, who moved from safety to linebacker and actually looked fairly good against the Giants on Thursday night. And four of those guys are going to latch on for those spots, at least for the time being. There is also a scenario where those guys don't make the roster because there are additional free agents because of cut downs, and Vrabel, Wolf, and company decide there's more value bringing them in for what the program needs versus what they've seen from the player currently on this roster. Again, a lot is set to play out in the next 2 weeks here for your Patriots. We'll continue to have everything that's going on, the roster projections, the rumors, the news, and everything else in between. So in the meantime, make sure you go down and subscribe for the channel. Make sure you get in our comments and let us know who you think is making this roster and who's going to be the surprise cut. Give us that like and go back and check out all of our old episodes so you're caught up on everything New England Patriots. We'll continue to have it all for you here on Pat's Latest. Fight on, Foxborough.